Dragons are among the most famous mythical creatures of all time. A giant lizard that breathes fire, making them a rich subject for tales and myths across various cultures. For this reason, dragons are always present in stories, novels, folk tales, and, of course, in movies and TV series. But where did the idea of dragons originate? Were they ever real creatures? And is it even logical for such a massive creature to fly in the sky and breathe fire? Hello, everyone. I'm the Knower. Before we begin, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our new videos, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. The strangest thing about dragons is that almost every ancient civilization has spoken about them, from China and India to the Middle East, Europe, and even the Americas. In Western civilizations, such as Europe and the Americas, dragons are portrayed as massive creatures with strong legs, sharp claws, a relatively long body, and wings resembling those of bats. However, on the other side of the world in China, dragons are depicted entirely differently, as enormous, snake-like creatures without wings, but with horns and elongated bodies. Dragons are not exclusive to Europe and China. If you delve into the culture of any ancient civilization, you'll find their own interpretation of dragons. In Persia, there was a dragon named Ajdaha, described as a yellow dragon with horns and massive size. In Mesopotamian culture, there was a dragon called Mushusu. Moving to India, we find Vritra, and in Greek mythology, there is the multi-headed Hydra. In the far north, in Norse mythology, there's the dragon Nidhogg. Even in ancient Egyptian civilization, there was a massive snake-like creature called Apep, or Apophis, which closely resembled the Chinese dragon. They also had another creature called Wadjet, resembling a serpent, but with wings. What's fascinating is that these diverse peoples and cultures, separated by thousands of kilometers, all spoke about dragons. While the descriptions and appearances of dragons differ from one civilization to another, they all reference them in some form. This led researchers to question, why did all these ancient civilizations talk about dragons? Does this mean these creatures actually existed? Or is there another explanation? The first theory, which seems logical, is that the dragons described by ancient peoples were not dragons at all, but dinosaurs. Throughout history, humans have come across fossils, massive bones, and large skulls buried in the ground. However, they didn't understand what these fossils were until modern times. In historical Chinese records from over 1,700 years ago, there are accounts of finding dragon bones. Because these skeletons were so massive, people imagined that these creatures were powerful rulers of the earth, flying and breathing fire. Each civilization added its unique touch to the description. The Chinese, for instance, believed that dragons spoke to humans, were wise and benevolent creatures, and loved peace and goodness. In contrast, Western civilizations demonized dragons, often depicting them as symbols of evil or even the devil itself. And their culture is filled with stories of legendary heroes fighting and slaying dragons. Another theory suggests that dragons are entirely imaginary creatures, unrelated to dinosaur fossils. Ancient humans may have wanted to imagine an extraordinarily powerful creature, so they combined the traits of various animals into one being: lion, snake, bat, eagle, and crocodile. The result was the dragon. If you look at the description of dragons in myths, their heads often resemble crocodiles or lions. Their wings resemble those of bats. Their claws are like those of eagles. and sometimes their bodies are covered in scales like fish. Now, to the critical question: could a creature with the characteristics of a dragon exist in reality? In other words, could a creature of this size fly? And could it breathe fire? Regarding flight, the answer is no. Dragons, as depicted in popular imagination, are enormous. Each would weigh several tons. Flying creatures generally need lightweight skeletons and aerodynamic bodies, but dragons have massive bodies resembling predatory animals like lions. A dinosaur like the Quetzalcoatlus, with a wingspan of 10 meters, weighed only about 70 kilograms, while a giraffe of comparable height weighs around 1,200 kilograms. For this reason, the idea of a dragon flying is entirely implausible. As for breathing fire, surprisingly, this idea isn't entirely impossible. In nature, there are creatures that perform similar feats. The bombardier beetle, for instance, can release a hot spray with a temperature of around 100 degrees Celsius when threatened. This hot spray results from a chemical reaction inside its body. If a dragon's body contained certain chemicals, it might theoretically produce fire when these chemicals mix. Types of dragons in different cultures. European dragons, portrayed as evil creatures with wings and strong claws. They often appear in tales of knights fighting them. Chinese dragons, depicted as wise and benevolent beings, symbolizing power and wisdom. They are often shown without wings. Sea dragons, creatures that live in the depths of the ocean. They frequently appear in Norse mythology, symbolizing the dangers of the deep. Japanese dragons, similar to Chinese dragons but slimmer with vibrant colors. They symbolize good fortune. Native American dragons, focused on giant creatures that protect nature in indigenous legends. In conclusion, no one has ever found a dragon fossil. All the information we have about dragons comes from ancient myths and stories. Therefore, we can confidently say that the dragons we see in movies and myths are impossible to exist in their depicted form. However, it's not entirely out of the question that smaller creatures inspiring these legends might have existed in the past. That's it for today. Who made it to the end? Those of you who did, you're the best. Don't forget to like the video before you leave so we can see how many of you stuck around till the end. And if you have a question that keeps you up at night, write it in the comments below and we'll answer it. See you.